You know, when I hear that this whole pandemic might have started on account of somebody somewhere eating a bat, I can't help but think of a thing that happened to me way back when I was living down in Gainesville, Florida. I was in graduate school. And at the time, I lived at the end of a dirt driveway in a kind of a rundown garage apartment. And just up the driveway, there was a clapboard shack, really, where a couple lived, Lil Clyde and Big Lucy. Lil Clyde was a little man. He had an extremely lazy left eye. Extremely lazy. He could be looking north with one eye and east with the other. I don't know how he navigated, frankly. So that was Little Clyde, and then his partner was Big Lucy. Big woman. Little man, big woman. Anyway, they had a table out there, out front of their place, and oftentimes they'd be out there drinking beer. They like to sit out there and drink beer. And I'd pass them on my way to and from school. And I'd make small talk. We were neighbors. So one time, it was afternoon, late afternoon, getting towards dusk. They were out there, and I stopped and made small talk. Now, it was dusk in Florida, so there were bats swooping around, circling around, feeding on the mosquitoes. And just making small talk, I pointed that out. I said, look, bats. And Lil Clyde and Big Lucy looked up, and they kind of freaked out. They didn't know about the bats up there. Bats? What the devil? The next thing I know, Big Lucy's telling a story about the time that her sister, Louise maybe, got a bat stuck in her hair. Now, I've heard this story from different people a number of times. I don't know. Seems like someone's always got a story about getting a bat stuck in their hair, or somebody they knew got a bat stuck in their hair. I don't know how many of these stories are true. But Big Lucy insisted. She said, yeah, I come down the chimney, and it got stuck in Louise's hair, and it was gosh awful. And the whole time she's telling this story, Clyde's looking at her, squinting at her with his one good eye. And finally he said, I don't remember that. When was that? And Big Lucy said, that's when you were in jail, Clyde. And he looked at her, looked at me, looked at her. What do you mean when I was in jail? I got the feeling he didn't want me to know he had been in jail. He didn't want to talk about that period of his life. And I didn't care. I've been in jail for a night at least. And anyway, they started kind of getting into, what do you mean when I was like, well, yeah, it was when you were in jail. What are you talking about? I was in it. And anyway, to kind of calm things down or, provide a distraction, I said, don't worry. Bats are good. And I was thinking about how bats eat mosquitoes, right? So I said, bats are good. They looked at each other and looked at me, and Clyde said, you eat them, Charlie? So when I said that bats were good, they thought I meant they tasted good. We were all thinking about the food chain, right? Just different links on the food chain. And I guess if this whole human project that we've got going here is going to continue, we're going to have to think pretty carefully about all those different links in the food chain. And anyway, whenever I hear this theory that this pandemic started with somebody eating a bat, I can't help but think about that story. And I can't help but wonder if Lil Clyde and Big Lucy think about that story as well. The time that man told them that bats were good, they may think that I started this whole thing.